Hey folks, fWhip here, and welcome to yet another comment or question of the day video. This is for episode 52, I believe, where we built the Pillager Castle, which I think is one of my favorite builds I've made in a very, very long time. So if you haven't checked it out, go be sure to check it out. It's amazing and I love it, and we have a new castle in the world, and yay. But we got a ton of comments to respond to today, so if you're excited, leave a like on this episode as it helps me out a ton. Subscribe if you're new to fWhiptwo. We just hit 110,000 subscribers, so thank you all so very much. First question today is getting pretty far along in the book here. There we go. From Python. They left a very long comment, so I kind of paraphrased it in the book, but it says, been really curious about your opinion on the influence paradox that comes from Minecraft YouTube. I personally find your builds inspiring because I know you're able to put a lot of time into the game such as your job, but I've heard a common rhetoric along the lines of seeing all these giant builds makes it intimidating to pick up the game and try to contend with all these pro builders. I don't see Minecraft as a game that's meant to be played in any particular way, but I do see a lot of people comparing themselves to YouTubers and getting discouraged. Been a huge fan of your builds for a while now. It's been amazing watching your last two hardcore worlds from day one. Best of luck moving forward. Yeah, this whole thing about mega builds, I can pretty much turn any way and there's a massive mega build around me, from a town there to an entire mountain, an obelisk, a castle, a world tree, all that stuff. I get exactly what you're saying there. And I will say, being a creator and being an established creator, I probably would find it pretty discouraging right now too if I were to just be getting into Minecraft YouTube. If I were just starting my channel right about now, I'll be honest, those of you with a smaller channel, you've got a lot more difficult of a time to grow an audience, especially with this absurd mega build shenanigans going on that has become so popular in the last little while. When I started playing Minecraft, I could get away with a single video building a house. A single house inside the city that we have over there could have been an entire episode for me. And for part of me, I love that because it was easy. I could get a whole video done in like 2.5 hours. But also part of me really, really loves to be able to dive in and spend a lot of time making these big episodes and doing all these big things. So am I contributing to the problem? Partially. But I'm also a little wary of where things are going in the future in the current bigger meta. I think the part of it that is, in my opinion, the worst, because of course there's always going to be artists that are making different scales of art. There's going to be your pixel artists versus your full realism artists, and even at that, the canvas size that you're working on is going to be completely different, from a small piece of paper to doing an entire billboard on the side of a building to being a 3D artist and making an entire world that people are going to be seeing like a Marvel movie or something grand. Those are entire teams of people, but you kind of get what I'm saying there, of even art in life varies so much by scale that hopefully people don't get too discouraged when they see something massive. That being said, until you see some YouTubers going in and being like, I built every single farm ever existed in Minecraft in one single episode and it took me no time at all, and those types of videos definitely come off as, look how cool I am and look how bad at the game you are. I'm not saying that all to you. You're all fantastic. Play Minecraft however you would like to. But as you mentioned, I think Minecraft is something that you have to find your way of playing. Like for me, I tried getting into the technical farms and learning redstone, and then I would get discouraged because I'm never going to be able to make something like decked out. That's just not a possibility for me. And instead I can make my pretty trees, I can make my custom mountains, and I can make my little creek beds that make me very happy. And over time, those add up to an entire mess of things. Like this took a month. But somebody scrolling through Instagram or Twitter or YouTube is going to see a thumbnail of that, and the video is going to make it look like I just did it. Woo, it's done. So I think the current editing style of where everything has to be a little bit quicker pace has definitely made it seem like videos and projects don't really take all that much time, where in reality I'm spending a month working on something for it to be published into a current state to get a 30-minute video out of it. So you can kind of see how that would definitely discourage people if they're not able to really see like, oh wait, that's not real time, that's video edited, cut down, maybe only seeing 1% of what actually happened time. I think the big problem with all of it right now is that getting into the YouTube game and getting into the being a quote professional Minecraft builder game, which mostly just means you're a Minecraft YouTuber or you work for a build team and do everything in creative mode, and that's completely different. But being a professional builder more or less means that you do YouTube videos and just build things in your survival world. It's definitely a lot of work, and it's definitely not the most approachable thing to get into. And if anything, with more people doing it, it's just getting more and more competitive as things go along. As I mentioned, it's probably a lot harder to get started now than it is when I got started way, way long ago. I'm just wandering around in the world right now looking at all the builds that I made previously. Oh, aren't they fun? As much as I can be like, look at all the cool things I made in this world, you also have to remember that it's been going on for over 2 years now. 2 years and a week, actually, pretty much exact, when this video is coming live. So as I mentioned in the last video, you're not able to do all this stuff in a single day. Like that mountain took an entire month and we still have to texture the back. And that doesn't even include building up the front face of it. That was just the back half. That is probably gonna need another month to texture the entire thing. So long story short, like any video game out of there, I think when you look at how a lot of the games have turned into like, this is the best way of doing things, you have to min-max your character to be much more efficient, or we're not inviting you to our group, has definitely been amplified a lot when you have Twitch streamers and YouTube creators all doing that to show the best of the best and putting out videos on here's how to be the best, here's how to do this. But I think it's also just kind of social media in general recently has got into a point where it's min-maxing the fun out of things, which really sucks because video games are supposed to be fun. And that is definitely something that I'm trying to get myself back into recently. I was very much getting to the point where I was like, okay, we need to do big build, bigger build so that I can keep the YouTube growth going and everything like that. And then recently you can probably tell where the shift happened in the videos of I'm going more in, this is a project that sounds fun to me. And that's the important part, instead of just being like, this is what's going to get me views and this is what's going to be really impressive to the YouTube sub feed. So I don't think it's only a problem with Minecraft builders and people being discouraged from getting into it, more so gaming culture in general of you always have to do bigger and better. And if you're not doing it the most efficient way, a lot of people are going to be like, why the heck are you even doing it? What are you doing? That's not fun. You have to beat the game in a day and then get a new game because you used up all the content because you did it in the most efficient way possible. And how could you not do that? You'd be dumb not to be the most efficient at whatever you're doing. You kind of get where I'm going with this. It sounds a little silly when you say it like that, right? But if I have any advice on the topic, the best thing I can say is just remember that when you're looking at videos that I do, I spend an entire week and a half, maybe 2 weeks producing a video that gets wrapped up in a 30 to 40 minute episode. So there's a lot of hours that are going into this. For example, we just hit day 5,751. And I think on average, every single video that I post is, well, yeah, way above average now. This is episode 52 and I'm on 5,751. Well over 100 days goes into every single episode that I publish. And if you sleep every single time as soon as the sun drops and get to work and go, and then sleep again as soon as it drops, if you add up 100 days, I think it comes out to 18 hours of Minecraft time. So you got to keep that into account when you're thinking about how much I'm able to get done in a single video. But anyways, back to the advice. The best thing I can really say here is, one, I'm rambling along a lot, so hope you enjoyed the ramble. But two, just again, like you said, take it at your own pace and just enjoy the process, which is a big thing. Enjoy the process of whatever game you're playing. Enjoy the process of leveling your character up to the max level. Enjoy the process of getting your iron tools and then getting your diamond tools and getting your netherite tools and then starting your base and doing all that. If you're not enjoying the entire process, just go do it in creative mode and that's probably fine. But survival Minecraft is here for the journey. It's not here for the destination. So things taking a long time just allows that journey to have more adventures along the path. And I think that's the important thing to be focusing on. Now that I spent 10 minutes on the first question, let's jump to question number 2. EconNB7076, I really enjoy you doing all the little projects as much as I love huge projects or central projects for a video or even a few. It's nice to have some side objectives too, just small things that flesh out the world a bit more, filling in the gaps to make it feel just a little bit more alive. I 100% agree with you. For example, I have this place right here. If you haven't watched the shorts that I published, you have never seen this, but this is a painter's setup where we have a little paintbrush here. They have their canvas and they have some of their supplies back here under a little thing, and they're painting the scenery. You know, maybe they're getting started. They're just really at that inspiration phase right now. But I completely agree with you here. I would absolutely love just to add little details around and finish off the nooks and crannies of the world as I'm going. But it's one of those where I think I mentioned in the last comment of the day is I need to finish off those big primary episodes and then have the space to fill in the details in between. But that is something kind of where I was just talking about as I'm reinventing what is fun for me in this game right now. A lot of that is going to be coming down and filling in those little places and adding a little bit here and there to different projects that I'm doing throughout the world to something that's just generally going to be more fun for me, and then creates these little special moments like the painter stand we were just at to go back and revisit and even just tell a story of what's happening there, who's living in the environment, and just what's going on. Those little details throughout definitely bring the world to life. And one thing I want to get into experimenting with more here in the game is using sounds that we have in the game already. I was chatting with one of my moderators, Blocky, recently, and they had a fantastic idea. Blocky builds a bunch of boats, and I've used quite a few of their schematics for boats inside this world and to help me kind of learn how to build boats myself. But anyways, they brought up the idea of putting a sniffer in the hull of a ship that you're building, because the sounds that a sniffer makes kind of sounds like the creaking of an old boat. So a wooden boat, think like that, put a sniffer in the bottom of it, and you can get a really cool idea and vibe out of it, and it just creates a lot more immersion, like the boat's rocking around in the water. So doing stuff like that is something that I want to start experimenting with. I'm a little worried about how it's going to affect the lag of the game, but it's definitely something I want to start doing and seeing where we can throw those things in. I kind of want to move into the primary project of an episode being about 60 to 70% of the episode, and then the rest of it is just little side projects throughout. That'll probably be something that comes in the new year. As I will say, I'm trying to pre-record ahead and get done for the holidays and be able to take some time off and spend it with family and have a little vacation and mental break from all of this. So I don't know if I'll be able to fill that stuff in before, but it's definitely something that I want to start focusing on more as we're moving forwards, of just kind of that fun and little projects here and there and making the world feel a lot more full as we branch off in different directions. Which leads us into our next comment, where I couldn't be standing in a more perfect place. These books should really remember what page you're on when you reopen them. Come on now. Cut Loose says, I want to see you fill out the world with lots more roads and small houses. Most of your current roads are main roads between larger builds and cities. The countryside could be filled with wagon trails and shacks. Maybe do a shack and a field every episode. Huh. Actually, to be honest, I didn't read your comment until after recording and finishing the video, but then I was like, wait, I just did that. We did do a shack and a field. Ignore that. That's the next field. I already did it. How about a shack and 2 fields and a tree? Wow, look at that. But on the topic of roads stretching out into the environment, I absolutely love that, and I want to start doing that more. But as you mentioned, they do currently only go to the main cities, because that's only the places that I've built. I don't really want to be building roads that just go to nowhere inside of a Minecraft world. So like this one right over here, it is ready to branch off in this direction. I just have nothing up here. So right now it just ends there. But when we eventually build things on top of this and move over this way and maybe start occupying this little jut out of land here in the middle, we can add even more roads like this one here that does go all the way out to Papyrus. But one thing about country roads and all that is those little towns and settlements, in how it works normally, is they appear and pop up along the way when you're moving from point A to point B, or maybe they're moving along and then they're off in the distance. They're like, wow, that's a cool mountain. I want to go settle next to that mountain and live underneath that, which for me is something that I really want to do more. As I mentioned, we're on the road that leads to Papyrus here. And then halfway along that way, I was like, well, 1, I need to plant a field. And 2, somebody probably was like halfway there and like, know what? I don't want to go any further. I'm just going to settle down here and build my home and have some sheepies and have a big old wheat field. And they were like, yep, this is enough. This is good enough for me. I'm between the 2 places that I might ever need to travel, and now I can get in between them much more easily. And then this little village here between the oak biome plains and then the savanna that we have is something that also could be along the way that we can transform, that I'd love to do in the future. And then of course we have our little ruined castle there and all that stuff. But eventually, maybe once we're here, we can be like, wait, look at the top of that mountain. Maybe something comes up here. And as we're moving, we'll slowly branch off in different directions. But in order for that to work out, I do need to get the roads going to their primary locations first and foremost, as nobody else is going to dig out and create the roadways unless there's a reason to travel there. So between capital cities is a very easy way to say, you know what, there could definitely be a reason for people to want to travel between these directions as they're moving from the main capital city out here to New Papyrus in the desert and all that fancy stuff. Long answer short, yes, eventually we'll add more roads and random stops along the way, but for now, I just want to focus on the big things that actually would cause people to venture out in the world in that direction. Funny enough that we ended out here in New Papyrus. Kixel is asking, wait, is the desert city finished? No castle or anything? No, it's not finished. It's something that we're going to get back to soon. I came out here because I was burned out on this main city I was working on, and then by the time I finished up this village over here, transformed the entire mesa biome, created all of this stuff and all that. We were out here for about a month and a half, 2 months, I believe. I think it was 7 episodes or so. And by that time, I was like, you know what? This has been really fun to work on, but I want to go back and work on my main project because I'm inspired to do it again. And since then, my love for the main projects has been back, and I haven't really been in a place that I want to be back over in New Papyrus quite yet. It's definitely a project that I want to expand and keep working on over here. I mean, we set up the boardwalk area and got the very, very base shapes out, and it's looking really cool, and it's a really good start, but that's not a city. Heck, we even have all of our blue axolotls out here, with Booger being the original. Hi, Booger. I love you, buddy. It's been a while. One day we will be back in New Papyrus. When that day is, I'm not quite sure yet. I'm just going back with wherever my inspiration takes me, and whatever I want to be doing next is what I'm going to be working on. I'm trying to live less by the Minecraft YouTube meta of what YouTube algorithms and everything say I should be doing, because I find the more that I do that, the more I actually create this own new meta, where a lot of people are watching my videos being like, oh my god, fWhip did that, so I should do that too. But in reality, I'm just being a happy dude over here building and placing the blocks down that I want to be placing down, and that's pretty cool. So yes, eventually we will be back over here decorating and building up more of this space. I absolutely love the village. I honestly haven't walked through this for quite a while, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is fun to be walking through here again. This was a really, really cool build to do. And bringing everything into life here and kind of building our own new village and actually getting it populated for once. Of how many villages? I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I'm going to be walking away now because I do not want to know how many villagers are in there. Anyways, I hope that added a little bit more context about where I'm at with projects, what's going on, and gave a few answers to some of your questions. Let me know down in the comments below what other questions you have and all that stuff. I'll pick a few more out for the next episode. But with that, my friends, leave a like on this episode if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.